Any last thoughts?
No, I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
what we'll
always
do.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are a couple of questions out there. So raise your hand. Stand up right there. A mic will arrive. Stop for a second. Who's next? Stand up back there. Please bring him that mic.
I actually wanted to validate your watch thing, and then I had a question for you.
Sure.
You see that? He's trying to sneak two things in there. I always hear it.
Of course.
You
Well,
can't get
because another
this
one
by
came
me.
along.
Go ahead.
But when I was finishing up college, I had no money, and they were giving out free watches, and I didn't have a watch. So I'm like, ooh, watch, it's free. And it was pretty ugly. And I started dating this girl around that same time, and every chance she got, she had to say something that she didn't like this watch, and when it was pretty bad. So one time in the summer when we were going out, we went to the beach, and this watch mysteriously disappeared. And I didn't mention anything about it. So about 2 days later, she comes by and she's like, oh, I noticed you haven't been wearing this watch. And she spent a whole bunch of money and got something like this, and now I just get compliments all the time.
Absolutely.
But now, on to my question.
But by the way, that's a fantastic one, really. If you meet a great girl, if you really meet a great girl that really gets it and is fun and together and so forth, and you have a good relationship with her, all right, they'll do things to fix you up. They'll work on you like a little project, okay? I'm serious. And sometimes it can be pretty cool. I mean,
at first she was like, I was like, oh, we just met kind of, and it was only about a month or 2 months, and I'm like, you're spending all this money on me. And she's like, this is getting kind of weird. She's like, oh, okay, I'll take it back. I'm like, no.
yeah, it puts it in a different light. What was your question?
Yeah, on to my question about being a gentleman. What would that apply to, let's say, women that try to cut in line on the men's bathroom?
Ooh,
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to go, then you have to go. You can say, listen, lady, hang out. It just,
okay.
don't, you know what I mean? Handle it. Don't make a rule for yourself. I mean, being a gentleman has just got to come out of you naturally. If in the situation you got to go, you can say, sweetheart, listen, I really got to go. However,
Sweetheart.
otherwise, let her go for it.
Just keep this in mind. Always get something in return.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Always get something in return. I mean, just think, you could get a couple of free drinks out of that. Look for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Right? She's cutting in line. You're going, whoa, stop for a sec. That's going to cost you 2 drinks. You got to go? Because none of these guys are going to let you in. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Stand up.
Okay, let's say I meet a girl when I'm out, and she gives me her number, tells me to call her. Personally, I'll just call her whenever I have the time. But one school of thought says if you call the next day, you're over anxious. The other school of thought says if you wait a day or two, she thinks you're playing a game. Opinion?
On when to call? Again, I hate rules. I think rules suck, to be really honest with you. I think it sets you up to do the same thing over and over, and it doesn't take into account the chemistry between the individual people. Does that make sense? Rules turn you into a robot and don't let you actually come out. I would say for you, this sounds like a hypothetical question, or did you meet someone last night? Hypothetical, okay. What you need to do is start paying attention to, do I really want to call this girl? Just call her when you want to. Call her when you have the time. You know what I mean? Don't make a rule out of when to do it. Certainly don't call that second unless you feel like you have to. But give yourself a little bit of time, call, and you'll feel whether or not she's going to call you back, if she's not calling you back. But playing games, I don't think it works.
If you meet a girl in the evening, you probably don't want to call her that night.
Right.
Unless there's some real reason, like she's like, okay, listen, I'm going over to this party. You need to call me to,
Yes.
there's a connect. Okay, that's a pretty good, I think, standard rule of thumb. But after that, really think about the time frame, and when you're going to call, really consider how long it's been and what the communication should be like. If you're going out of town the next day and you've got to call her the next morning because you're leaving the country for 3 weeks, you might call up and just say, hey, I was thinking about it. I'm leaving the country for 3 weeks, and I knew you'd be sitting there next to the phone, tapping on it the whole time for 3 weeks until I got back, and I couldn't do that. So I'm leaving, and you're just going to have to sit there and think about me for 3 weeks, but at least you won't be tapping on the phone. Think about the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring the situation to bear. Okay, who's next? Stand up. Who's got the mic? Oh, here we go. All right.
Can being a gentleman turn into being a wuss?
Yeah, absolutely, if you act like a wuss.
I think you've probably done it, in fact.
If you're
Who thinks he's guilty? Just you can tell. Right, okay, good.
That's because I wrote it down. I wrote the question down. That's why I looked down.
Okay.
I see.
So if you consider being a gentleman, just like connecting with people, you got to be a gentleman all the way around. Like, be a gentleman with old women. You know what I mean? Just be a gentleman. If you're doing it to get someone to like you, you're being a wuss. Does that make sense? Being a gentleman just comes out of you being a gentleman. It's not something like you're doing to get a response. It's something that you do because it's the right thing to do. If you're doing it to try to manipulate her to like you, wuss.
You know, I've been through some interesting times with this one myself. You're making me think about this. I've actually learned things through learning to be more successful with women that have made me a better person in general by considering a woman's perspective more, because you know I do that a lot. I like try to think about what it's like to be her. It's taught me to think about what it's like to be other people even more. And I mean, I had one thing happen one time, I don't know, this was probably 6 or 9 months ago or something. There was someone in where I live in LA, in Santa Monica. They were, it sounded like it looked like they were in trouble. They probably were homeless or something, and they were trying to get their wheelchair across the street, and I could see them. And I just kind of was overcome with this realization that they couldn't quite get up onto the curb and like they needed some help. And at first I was like, I'm here with this girl, and if I go like help this person, it's going to be weird, and like it might. And then I realized that who I am is being good to people. Like I want to just take care of people, whoever they are, and that's more important to me than anything. And so I went over and I helped this person out, and I talked to them for a little while, and they were kind of messed up, and you know, they needed a little bit of help, and I kind of helped them out. And when I walked away, I realized that actually made a bigger impact on her because I genuinely went and just helped this person out and needed some help. And a friend of mine says, people learn who you are by what they catch you doing, all right? By what they catch you doing. So in other words, they learn who you are by what you actually do normally, by what you're doing when you're not trying to impress them. And, make this stuff internalize it, make it part of who you are.
This isn't a bust on you, David, but about 2 years ago.
Why are you so defensive about it then?
No, I'm trying to defend you, okay?
Wait a minute here. You're trying to defend me. This is very scary.
All right. About 2 years ago, I was dressed kind of like in a similar setup like what you got on today. I was in a club, okay?
2 years ago you were dressed like this?
Yeah.
Well, that explains it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I was by myself, kind of leaned back. I had all the body language, and I was cool and I was confident. And there were these two girls. They were playing pool or whatever, and they noticed me, of course. And, I kind of made that initial, smile, wink or whatever. And they looked at me or whatever, and they went back to what they were doing, and they were whispering something or whatever. Eventually, as the night went on, they come over to me and they say, "Hi." And I say, like, "Hi. We would have came over earlier, but we thought you were gay." And I was like, "Why do you say that?" "Well, most guys don't wear pink shirts."
This isn't pink, by the way. Go ahead.
So anyway, I was wondering, is there anything that I could possibly do with like my body language or whatever like that would convey that I'm not gay or anything like that? Because
is this really happening? Is this possible that this man just went through that whole thing to ask, how do I convince people that I'm not gay with my body language?
Well, it's okay. Let me explain it better, because like, if you're seen as way too dressed up or way too in style, you kind of instantly get that. It's like, oh, well, he must play for the other team, because most guys, are kind of scruffy, kind of a little more solid of the earth. But when you come in with like all shined up and pink shirt on,
this isn't pink, dude. Go ahead.
It just makes it seem like you're kind of out of place. How would you handle that?
You better take this one.
Okay, I have to be honest with you. It's less about what you wear and more about who you are and how you come across, to be really honest. And you can be, I don't know, someone over here was agreeing, like, yeah, if I get too dressed up, people think I'm gay. It happens. When a guy's good looking and he's attractive, a lot of times, and he's got style, women will think you're gay. They are so thrilled when you're not, because they got the best of both worlds. A guy that's got style and he's straight. Oh my God, I've hit the jackpot. So for you, just be yourself and honestly have fun. Changing who you are, like you coming across as some buff guy, come on, that's going to look weird. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Just be yourself. All the stuff that these guys have put out today is fantastic. The information that they shared is phenomenal. Be yourself. Don't worry about it. If women are like, oh, I think we'll be like, honey, thank God I'm not. You know what I mean? Let them know. They're going to be so thrilled that you're not. You just stay with being yourself.
Well, yeah, they were thrilled, but it was just that initial parts, like that could have blown the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it didn't, did it?
No.
Exactly.
But I
So you
just,
got
like, all the encounters I don't know about, you know what I mean? It could be.
It could be for a million other reasons that they're not interested in you.
Why don't you get a shirt that says "I'm not gay"? It just came to me. I don't know. It just came to me. Might test that out. You know what? It's interesting. Humans really want the best of both worlds always. They always want to have their cake and eat it too. They want both. And you can't have everything in your life both ways, you know? If you've got a strength and you're capitalizing on that strength, there are going to be natural weaknesses that go with it, and you just got to deal with it. All right? If you're making an investment, if you go buy a piece of real estate, if you're investing in that piece of real estate, you can't take that money and go invest in the stock market and invest in bonds at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You're deciding, you're making a call, and you're going with the thing that you're going with there. So, you know, I'll just tell you, when you stood up and you talked right there, and you spoke, you came across pretty soft. Okay? Like on the, you know, definitely not gay to could potentially be gay, but maybe not scale. All right? I'm not going to put you way over here because you speak a little bit softer and you're a little softer in your movements and so forth. So in your body language, you know who Mr. T is?
From the A-team?
That's what I'm talking about there. What you talking about, fool? Maybe throw a little Mr. T on the fire and see how that works for you.
Yeah, and I have to, there's another point. I know a lot of metrosexuals, do you guys know that term? Yes, that have so many girls around them, it's ridiculous. I can't even believe how many women they get. So it's got to be, there's something with you that needs to shift from I'm not okay to I'm great just the way I am, because these guys dress to the nines. I sometimes think they're gay, yet there's women calling them all that. It's remarkable. So it's a shift that needs to happen with you. The I'm not gay shirt may help as well.
All right, who's got the mic over here? Stand up.
My question to you is, appropriately, if I call a girl a day or two later, is it okay? And I say, hi, it was great meeting you. Let's go out and get a cappuccino or something, drink sometime during the day. Is it good? Let me know. And that is if she has an answering machine. She doesn't answer it because she wants to know who it is. Wait a couple of days. If I don't hear from her, call again, let it go.
No.
Or how does the approach or let her?
Okay, number one, I'm hearing from you just out of your voice and what you're saying. You're wanting permission from her. Like, is it okay? Can we get a cappuccino? What it feels like for me is that, like, to go back to like the ebook and the basic stuff, if you have that, or if you haven't got it, get it. Because there's this wanting, like, for her approval, or is it okay, or does that work in your schedule?
No, I didn't mean it by that. I was asking from your position, is it okay to do that? Not, I would just say, let's blah, 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 blah. I usually say that to her. But in asking you, is it okay to call and just wait a couple of days if you don't hear from her?
If you don't hear from her, I guarantee you she probably, unless she's lost your number, which rarely happens with women, they're excellent when they're into a guy. They will keep his number, write it down 5 places if they have to.
Right.
If she doesn't call you, it's probably because she's not interested, and move on.
Okay,
Next.
so like how would you know? Like in a couple of days, wait? I don't want to call
Yeah,
3 or
if
4
you call-
times and
No. I wouldn't call more than once, to be honest with you.
Right.
I'd call once and, leave a message. Whatever you're going to say, whatever comes out of you is great. If she doesn't call you back, I would bet she's not interested. And just move on. Simply move on.
I'd call more than once personally.
Would you really?
And the second time I'd call and the answering machine would be there and I'd answer and I'd say, hey, yeah, it's me again. I know you're too nervous to talk to me. You're probably sitting there listening to this thing, screening your calls. You poor little dear. Look, it's okay. All right, it's okay. I don't bite. Just have fun with it. But yeah, just cut it's a phone number. It's not like you have anything invested. Go get another one. It's so much easier.
Thanks.
Who's got the mic?
I do.
Oh, well.
How's the shirt look? Yeah. So the 6 months I've been dealing with working with Dave's material, I've had good success. But let me just ask where you would come down on this as a woman. I am really interested in finding something serious and hopefully getting married in the near future. How do I sort of temper the cocky funny with also showing marriage material?
How would you temper the cocky
So
funny?
what are ways of showing I am marriage material? At what point to show that?
Oh, you
And-
don't. I'll tell you, you don't have to show it and you don't have to wear it on a sign. Women know. Like, we can pick it up and you don't have to broadcast it. What I would suggest is realize you have the agenda that you want to get married. It's there. It's not going anywhere, but don't operate through it. Keep having fun and it will unfold naturally. But if you try and produce things, in my experience, they seem to backfire. It doesn't really work that well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Things seem to be more forced. I would go with the cocky, funny stuff and continue to have a good time with as many women as you can at one time and just date a bunch of people. See, like, some will drop off naturally and some will stick around. Out of that, things will happen all on their own.
Yeah, all you got to do really is get like a 3-bedroom apartment,
It's not that easy in New York.
Okay, or a 4-door automobile. Okay, anything that just like has those spaces where the family isn't there, but like it just feels, and then don't mention it at all. Okay, and you'll be just fine. I think that really, if you've got that energy, like I'm trying to do anything, people don't. That's not what people want. They want to be
I think
that
before
want
your
it.
material, I was doing that too much.
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
Now
But
just
I
be
may have
you.
gone too far the other way. But
Yeah, good. I learned something interesting when I was younger, and I used to buy and sell a lot of musical equipment, which is interesting, which, by the way, is when we met. This is a real freak show. I haven't seen this guy in like 10 years, and it's like, what are you doing here? Anyway, I used to buy and sell a lot of musical equipment, and I noticed something interesting, and I talk about this example a lot because it just means a lot to me. If somebody wanted something that I had, or I wanted something that they had, and we were making a deal and we were negotiating it, we were going back and forth. I'll give you $500. Oh, I really need $6. Okay, well, I'll give you a $550, and then you throw in this other thing. Oh, that if they told me the thing and they go, okay, I'll give it to you for $575, and I said, okay, deal, that somehow, because I accepted their offer, they always felt like they didn't quite get the best deal that they could. Whereas if I say, no, I won't give you $575, I'll give you $550, and you better give me this other thing, and they were like, oh, damn it. And they like had to be pulled into it, and it was on my conditions at the end. Somehow they always felt a little more satisfied with the deal. It never made any sense to me. I couldn't figure it out. And then later on when I learned about psychology, I learned that people value things that they have to work for, right? And they don't like working with, relating to people, having relationships, dating and that. They don't like people that are needy. They don't like people that need something, that have that space that needs to be filled. The best way to attract just a great woman is, I think, as far as I'm concerned, a really great woman is a woman that has a life of her own and doesn't need a man to make her whole. Now, unfortunately, a lot of guys, they look for a woman unconsciously that has that like hole in her character and her personality and her emotions that they need to have a man, so that they latch on to the man, and then the guy goes, oh, this is great, this is exactly, and then like they wake up a year or 2 or 3 later and they go, oh, I have a chain and a thing like with the boat anchor around my neck and I'm underwater, right? Whereas if you're looking for a woman that really has her own life together, is independent, doesn't need anything from you, and you're the same way, that's when you're probably really going to have a great long-term relationship.
Yeah, when you get really okay with being single. Really okay. You know what I mean? Not pretending that you're okay and like, I'm okay, but I really hope I find someone tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great question.
all right, great, thanks.
Yeah. One more. Stand up over here.
About meeting women in gyms. Usually they seem preoccupied. They have headphones on. Is there a different technique you'd use, or is that just my issue?
Meeting women at gyms with
In a
headphones
gym.
on.
Well, yeah, if they're on a treadmill, they got a headphone. They're or
I can't answer this one. We need some brainstorms from the audience. What's the best way to meet a woman in a gym? Yell it out. Drop a weight on her foot. Okay, that's a good one. Walk up to her and go like this. That's a good one. What else? Put your number in her cell phone. I like that one. What else? Really?
Press stop.
What? Ask her to spot you. That's good. That's good. And then look at her and go, Maybe not. It's good. We just came up with an excellent one there. What up? Splash your water bottle on her? That's what I'm talking about. Splash a little water on them and don't look. It's good. You getting some good ideas here? Yeah, okay, good. We're done with your question.
Okay.
We took the power of the audience here because I didn't have a good answer. All right. Who's got the mic over here? Who's rocking on the mic?
All right. A comment and a question. Number one, to agree with you or to tell you my experience about like leading in the bar and so on and so forth. I went on a date or hung out. I didn't want a date. We hung out with this girl. And, I was leading around the bar and everything like that. And just unconsciously, going to the bar, like going to space and see like, is this place taken? I bring her over it. And she looks at me. She says to me, you know what I like about you? And I was like, what? You stake your territory. You stake your territory and you claim it, And I never thought about it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, you should like that, something like that. But I never really thought about, I never really thought that women look at that or see into that,
Women respond to that unconsciously.
Yeah, and she was just amazed.
You hear what she was saying about if there's a guy in the group of women, he doesn't want any of his women to get taken away, even if they're not his girlfriend, even if it's his sister or a friend of his or whatever. Men are naturally programmed to protect their group of women. They don't want one of the women to get taken away. And women like to hang out with a guy who has a big territory.
Yeah.
I once saw, I'm just going to run with this for just a sec here. I once saw Hugh Hefner out at a club in Hollywood. And it was very interesting. What they did is they took the center of the club, okay, it was the Garden of Eden, and they like roped the whole thing off and they put these chairs and barriers around the whole, like right in the middle of like this main part. And he had like, 7 or 8 playmates all like dancing around him, and he was sitting in there alone with all these guards around and like nobody could get in. And every once in a while a girl would like come over and like want to get in to meet him. And she'd have to like go through this whole process. And I could see as soon as she like crossed that line into his territory, it was like, I got in. And I mean, one girl that looked like a Pamela Anderson type or something, like was so thrilled that she got in. She ran over to him and like he stood up and he smiled and she like oh God, and she hugged him and he like reached over and went and like laughed at it and like it's amazing. That territorial aspect is very powerful.
All right. On to my question. This whole thing you're talking about, like calling, she doesn't call back, or you email and so on and so forth. I'm hearing like different things. Because I remember meeting this girl on the street, and I got her number. I talked to her once, and I told her I'll call her back whenever. And I called her back a week later. She didn't pick up, so I left a message. And she never called it back. Then I read your email. Someone talked about not calling the girl back when she calls, and you said, why, what's the use? Why don't you just try and call back again or whatever, So I called her back like a month later, and I got her on the phone, and we talked, and she's like, yeah, I remember you. You're the guy who left the message, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she didn't, I didn't say, oh, well, you didn't call me back, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
I said to her, yeah, well, you lost your chance with me already because you never called me back. So, I mean, it's something to his extent, and we said it was time to hang out, you know what I mean? She seemed generally happy to hear from me, you know what I mean? Why do women not, and emails too, like when you said if email, and it's worked for me every time, she doesn't respond to your first email, so you're like, yo, what are you, playing hard to get stuff back? And you just write back, it won't kill you, And she's like writing an apologetic email. Oh, I'm sorry, I was busy last week and blah, 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 let's hang out. I don't understand that, how, when do you stop calling her back if she doesn't return your calls, or when you know when to persist,
God. Again, I hate rules. I really can't stand them. It sounds like it's working well for you, what you're doing. So I don't know that you have to change anything. It sounds like you want to fix something that ain't broke.
Well,
I feel like what's happening a lot, and I don't know if you're picking up on this, is like you want a formula so you can apply it every time, right? So you know that if I do this, if I apply this formula, I'm going to get results. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. Does that make sense?
Well, my thing in the past was just to not. She didn't call back one time. I'm like, F it. I just never called back.
Right.
I'm just like, leave it alone. Then he was saying in his emails that women sometimes like playing hard to get.
Which is very true. And
Right.
he's absolutely right.
And they want to see, they want to tell, this guy calls me. I don't want to call him back. Sometimes they're too shy to call back, Sometimes they're just not in a good mood. They're busy with their life and they forget. I mean, and sometimes they wait too long to call back and they think, he might not even, I don't know,
I'll tell you what, you can't really do it wrong. You know what I mean? Like if you emailed someone 5 or 6 or 7 times, that's on the wrong end. But as far as once or twice or this time or that time, when it gets to be the right woman, and I assume that you're one of the guys who would like to have a long-term relationship.
No, not really, actually.
No? So then just go for it.
How do you really feel about it? I mean,
yeah. So just do what you're doing once or twice.
Okay, let me add a little bit to this.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think you said was in there as you were talking, the vibe that I got from you is if she doesn't call back, whatever, just get on. She's not interested, what have you. If a woman is like a really fantastic, like grounded together woman who's secure and, got her life together, and you call her up, she's probably going to be more likely to just call you back and say, hi, I gave you my number, but you know what, I'd probably just prefer to be friends because I'm not interested in looking, you'll get whatever it is. Or she'll call you back and say, hi, I meant, let's get together and hang out sometime. Whereas if you're dealing with a woman that's maybe a little more flighty or emotionally unstable or whatever, or seeing 40 guys at once, or she gives out her number to 20 people a day, you might just be one of the 4 guys that called her on her answering machine, and you just didn't get a call back. I mean, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's like totally outside of anything about you. Attractive women, one of the things that's very interesting to me is that at about 2021 or something, they start to realize that they're accumulating, they're like accruing this following in their life, right? And because they're really attractive and interesting and what have you, as the guys that have gotten their number in the past call every year to like see what's going on, or they call every couple of months, all right? And the next thing you know, one of these women is like 25, 26, 27, and there's like 100 guys that call once in a while. Hey, I'm back in town. What are you doing? And you're like, I'm married and I have 4 kids. What are you doing? Jackass, right? And then the other thing is women, a lot of women are very emotional. They make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. And you might call up and say, hey, we met, call me back. And she might be like, I hate men. I just talked to my ex-boyfriend. You're a man. And you call back a month later and she's like, oh God, I haven't had a date in a long time. Wow, I'm so glad you called. Yeah, I remember you called and I didn't call you back. What's up? So your investment, the phone call. That's it. It's a phone call. Not that big a deal. All right, we got to wrap. Give her a big round of applause. Just want to take just a minute here and tell you about some of our other programs, some of the other things that I have available for you, other tools, other products. I really believe, I just want you to know my philosophy, I don't believe in creating a program or going through all that trouble unless I've got something valuable to say. Okay? I don't like to really take the same material and just package it over and over and over 27 different ways. I like to really, if I'm going to do something new, I like to bring a lot of new value to it, just like you can see in this program. It's not just the same exact stuff rehashed. We're bringing some new thought and some new techniques and, some new guests and some new things to this table. So our other programs do the same thing, okay? And they all address different levels, all right? First of all is my Double Your Dating ebook, Double Your Dating. And I think it's critical to have that because that's the overview. Okay, all the foundational stuff is in there, and it's really important to have that to review on a regular basis and go through. Next is my next ebook, which is just about to be released and will be out and on the market by the time you hear this. And that book is called Attraction Isn't a Choice. Attraction Isn't a Choice. And that's the psychology of making women feel attracted to you. Okay, it's long, it's in depth, it's very interesting. A lot of inner game stuff. Recommend that you get that. Next, I want to talk about my Interviews with Dating Gurus program. Some of the people that you've seen up here, Ben, Marie, we saw Will, you're about to see Tyler. These are all people that I've interviewed. Okay, this is how I meet a lot of really great folks. You really need to hear those interviews. Okay, that program's $19.95 a month, and when you sign up for it, you get a starter kit that's got a couple of bonus interviews in it. You have to listen to these interviews. I mean, the reason why I do these interviews is I've always said that it's really important to meet other guys who are successful with women and interact with them. Listen to how they think, watch what they do. Maybe you work a lot, maybe you don't have the time to, get out there and meet guys, or maybe you're finding it challenging to, find guys to interact with. This is a great way to shortcut the process. You can listen to me interviewing people who are naturals at this stuff. Guys that are really good, really good. Who's on that program can validate that you get some really killer insights from that? Okay, good. Thank you. Next, my Advanced Dating Techniques CD and DVD program. That program is kind of the let's just call it the next level foundation after you read my ebook. After you read Double Your Dating, you want to get the advanced series, because that lays out the everything from soup to nuts, everything from the psychology of how attraction evolved, how to trigger attraction inside of women with just your body language and your communication. There's a lot of techniques in there, a lot of stuff on meeting women online. It's really the next place to go. It's really a fantastic program. Almost out right now, and will be out by the time this is released, is Mastery. This is a 4-day program that I did and videotaped. It's our advanced series is about 12 hours of material. Mastery is about 20, and that's released on CD and DVD. And about half of that goes way into the inner game, okay, and talks a lot about becoming a more mature person, talks a lot about psychology. I teach a lot of things. I've got a ton of guests. I probably had 12 amazing guests at that program. That program will blow your mind. I mean, literally. You'll probably have to take a lot of time just to listen to it, because it will fill your mind with so many ideas. The buzz that went on after we finished with that program was amazing. So you really need to get the Mastery program. You'd want to get that after you got the Advanced Dating Techniques program. Next, we've got a program coming out that's some of my favorite material that I've ever developed. And it's my program on being a man who naturally attracts women. And that's a CD and DVD program. Again, that's going to be released very shortly. Will be out by the time you hear this. And that program goes deep into becoming a mature, masculine man. Actually doing the work on the inside. It's not a bunch of technique. It's doing the work on the inside that's required to just have that attractiveness shine through. Become a man that's naturally attractive to women. I will guarantee you that if you listen to that program or watch it, that there's a lot of stuff in there that you just have never even thought about, never even imagined could exist. Okay, it'll open your mind. It'll really reframe you. Some of the most valuable material that I've ever done. Highly recommended. Of course, all my programs, I'll send them to you on approval. You can check them out, try them out. If you don't like them, send it back. You don't have to pay anything. And with most of them, you can pay in payments over time, because I know that helps out your budget. And we offer, of course, a guarantee. If at any point you go, I just didn't like it, just send it back. It's no problem. All right, who's heard my interview with Tyler? Right? Was that pretty awesome? Huh? Well, guess what? He's here. Give him a big round of applause.
Hey guys, what's up? I really enjoyed this program. It's a topic of strong interest of mine, so I've been enjoying it a lot. I've been hearing so much information. I'm sort of just trying to sum it up in my mind for some straight up principles for you guys to synthesize it. One thing that comes to mind, I can remember once I met this girl. We hit it off really, really well, and it was just awesome, right? And I remember I got home, or maybe to a bathroom or something after I left her, and I saw this huge mustard stain right up on my face. Okay. And I asked her about it later, and she didn't really care. I thought that was funny. And the funny thing that occurred to me was that if I had known that was on my face at the time, that probably never would have happened. Probably not would have gone very well. So what a lot of that comes down to is belief system. I remember a lot of the things that I used to do to start conversations, I think right now are really terrible. I don't use them anymore. Stuff I used to use a few years ago. But funny that it did work really, really well a few years ago when I thought it worked really well. Okay, because I believed that it would work, so it would work. A lot of you guys have heard a lot of information today, and the funny thing is that if you hear it and you're like, this is awesome, and you believe that it will work, you'll go out and it'll work, At the same time, don't get too hung up on details. Don't get paranoid about it. The most important thing is how you feel at that time. The state that you're in is infectious to the people around you. So if you have a lot of negative thought loops going on in your mind, you're going to pull people into that. If you're in a good mood, you'll pull people into that. People will gravitate towards states that they want to be in. A lot of people will go out, maybe you hear this seminar, and you want to go out and meet girls in clubs. That's why you guys are here. So you might be with your friend, and maybe from the seminar you make some friends, and you're walking around the club, and you're looking around, talking about how you're going to do it. I want you guys to think about the consequences of that. If you can't create a good vibe within your own group, it's going to be a lot more difficult to create that vibe in somebody else's group. So before you even think to start about creating a great vibe in someone else's group, try and create it in your own. Now, if you're by yourself, don't think that sitting around and procrastinating in the bar or the club is going to help you to get more courage. It's just like sitting at the top of a diving board. The longer that you sit up there, the more that those like fear chemicals are building up inside you. So you just want to go, boom, just go do it before you even think. Just bang, go right in. You could talk to, we're in New York. You could talk to like the rapper 50 Cent, for say an hour. And you might leave that conversation thinking, wow, I should be like a gangster, right? Like, I got to be tough. I can't take shit from anybody. You'd believe that. And then you could go meet some spiritual leader, Dalai Lama or something like that. Same day. And you'd walk away from that thinking, you know what? I need to have inner peace. I need to chill out. I need to forgive people. All that kind of stuff. This all comes from strong belief systems. So any system that you hear in terms of like pickup, how to meet girls, a lot of it just comes from the guy that is teaching it has a really, really strong system of belief. He believes that what he's going to do is going to work so awesomely that it just works. Now, there's a lot of information, a lot of different stuff going in your head, like, how do I dress? When do I call? How do I do approaches? A lot of you guys will probably go out to the club, and, you'll see the girl there, and there's a lot of different information cycling through your mind. So maybe we should just break it down into, like, just, quick, like, how can we do this? First of all, people have autopilot responses. That's something that fascinates me. I know all about people's autopilot responses and how to elicit them. One of them is that at any point, even during a engrossing conversation, if somebody else comes in, we're going to for at least a moment, turn to see who that is. So for example, if someone were to come in the door right over there and say something, despite the fact that I'm talking, we're all going to go, look off to the right and see what's going on. Is there a car on fire? Is something wrong? What's going on? So a lot of you guys will see girls, they're inside, they're like maybe having a conversation, and you don't know when to cut in. Maybe you don't want to cut in over them. What you don't realize, at least what you probably don't realize, is that if you just walk right in and you're completely composed and just having a good time, they will immediately go right on you. So there's no need to necessarily wait for eye contact or to necessarily wait for an opening in the conversation like what people are thinking. These things are great, and if you get it, that's a bonus. So for example, if a girl gives you eye contact and she's physically attracted to you already, that is fantastic, okay? For other guys who don't have that, what you can do is you can go in and you can attract her. The way that you do that is you just go right in. So don't even think about that. Now, the main place where guys are going to go wrong when they go in is they're going to start acting kind of weird. The reason why they do that is that's like a character that they project to hedge themselves off from rejection. This is like a natural subconscious thing that people do. So, for example, maybe you made a video cassette once, like a videotape, and you walked around your house and you said, hey, this is the kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. Oh, there's Jim. Say hello, Jim. Hi, Jim. And it's like that. And you're not acting like yourself. You're putting on like this like slight like narrator persona. And what a lot of guys will do when they meet girls is they put on this like pickup persona, like, hey, what's up? How you doing, huh? Right? And they have that kind of not natural persona that creates a barrier between themselves and the girl. Now, for a lot of you guys, you'll probably have a lot of nerd mannerisms and a lot of like low status mannerisms that are built into you. So to learn something like pickup is a matter of looking at like the naturals around you. Go to the hottest clubs, okay? If you want to learn about fashion, go to the hottest clubs, look around, go for a little while until you start to get a feel for it. Just, look around, okay? You'll start to see vibes from the guys that have girls with them. Now, don't always be fooled, because the thing is that as much as we're always on the lookout for naturals, the problem is that sometimes we're too eager to find a natural, and what we're finding is really just maybe some guy who's throwing around a lot of money. Or maybe we find some guy that, he came with all these girls, he's not meeting them right there, whatever, okay? So you need to learn how to sort of tell that. One really good way to tell if a guy's just meeting a girl versus if a guy has known her for a long time is if the guy is just meeting the girl and he's really cool, the girl will be giggling and swatting him and having the time of her life, whereas if the girl's known a guy for a long time, she'll probably look a lot more neutral towards him. So go out, look at that. So for example, one way that you can attract girls is just by playfully yelling at them, like you know what, you and I would not get along, something like that. And the girls will start giggling at that. But the thing is that for a lot of you guys, to cross that barrier, just to yell a little bit in a playful way, is something that you don't feel congruent with yet. Now, the reason why that is because there's too much self-monitoring going on in your mind while you're doing it. Like, if you were to tie your shoes, you're not really thinking about it. You just do it because you've done it a million times. But to say yell at an attractive girl who you just met, in a playful way, guys, maybe that's something that you haven't done. So when you do it, you're going to have that slight little hint of hesitation in your voice where she can tell that you haven't done that, and she can tell that you don't believe in that, and that's going to wreck it. So what's the solution to that? Well, to just do it anyway. To do it more than once. To train your subconscious mind that it doesn't really matter if you don't get the approval of someone who you're talking to. Because what happens after a while is when things don't go so well, you do it over and over and over, you go home, you're like, well, I'm still okay. There's really no difference. And now you've demonstrated to your subconscious mind that it really doesn't make a difference. And eventually you do become more congruent with high-status behavior patterns. Now the thing is, though, is that there's sort of like different cycles of internalization. Because my interest, like my approach to meeting women, is I look at things like, my approach is basically high-status behavior patterns, female psychology, and just understanding logistics, like just understanding how to spark attraction, what causes attraction, and what to do with it once you have it. So the thing is, what I'd like to see you guys doing is just going out, going in the cool places, seeing what's going on, but as you slowly internalize different high-status behavior mannerisms, you have to go to a point where you stop trying to use them, which means you just act normal. That's like the biggest thing is that guys think they have like this like delivery, like I use my like cool dude tonality or like my cool dude delivery, but the thing is that's messing them up. Try to act just as normal as possible. Now what's interesting about this is that sometimes when you approach women, they're going to get hyper or they're going to get obnoxious, and that's just because they're either drunk or hyper in the club, or that's like a wall that they put up, or maybe they'll act disinterested, like they'll just be like looking all over the place. And the solution to that is to stay composed. Don't show any sign that it's affecting you at all. Just stay totally chilled out. Now here's the first key to like opening a lot of conversations in clubs. This is a very subtle thing, but you have to understand this if you want to be able to open conversations consistently. That's called barreling through. What that means is that you're going to do something that's a little bit counterintuitive, but once it's actually really, really basic, and once you have the hang of it, you'll get a lot more conversations open. All right. Now say you open the conversation, the girls aren't listening. What you do is you just keep talking as if you almost don't even realize that they're not listening. Now, obviously this is a sort of suggestion that could go really wrong for a lot of people, right? So you're going to have to go test it until you get the hang of it. But so for example, say that I'm talking. I might be talking, say there's two girls, and one of them's listening, one of them's not. I might just keep talking and just go tap, tap, and then just keep talking as if nothing. Just like that. And it's funny how it gets their attention. The reason why this is happening, just so you guys have a little bit of background on this, is in the club, the people are there. They're very much social value seekers. So take, for example, maybe you've been in a club before where you're talking to some really interesting guy. And he's honest to God, he's like a really cool dude. But for some reason, there's just something inside you that's compelling you to go talk to other people and not the same person the whole night. You don't totally know why that is. You might have even had times where you have other stuff on your mind and someone's talking to you and you fade out and you're not totally focused. You'll notice that girls get that same thing. I remember when I first realized that, it was a while back, and I was talking to one of my guy friends, and there was this girl like a few feet away from me that really liked me. And I kept talking to him, but I kept sort of fading out to hear what she's doing. A lot of the time when you guys are in clubs and the girls are fading out, that's because you don't have the social value to hold their attention. And so what's happening is they're starting to like fade out and like they're starting to wander, trying to figure out what's going on. Now what's interesting, and this is something you really have to believe, is that your behavior patterns will affect the way that you're perceived on a second-to-second basis. What that means is that you can have a girl that is completely uninterested 1 second, but when you start to just change the way things are going, next thing you know, she's completely attracted to you. And then she can be completely attracted to you. You could take her to a restaurant, everything's going awesome, and then all of a sudden you mess up something, and she just loses attraction right there. And then maybe you can get it back. That's just sort of how it goes. Sometimes when I'm in the hot clubs in Hollywood, I'll open, and the girls will try and just brush me off. And I'll just yell a little bit louder, just like I'm some kind of like spoiled rich kid or something. Just start yelling just louder and just crack jokes. And then I'll be like, dude, what are you doing? And then they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll be like, why are you touching me? That's like what my little sister does when she wants to get money out of my dad. And then she goes, no, no. And then again, it just just kind of goes from there. Okay, you can build attraction like that. Attraction in many ways is based around validation. Attraction can be based around a lot of things, but especially in clubs, the girls are definitely looking to get validated just as much as you guys are looking to get validated by hot girls. Isn't it funny, though, how a girl can go dance with her friends, get bought drinks all night, have a kick-ass time, go home, and she'll feel good, whereas if a guy went out and tried to meet a bunch of girls and got nothing, he might not feel too good about it. Now, that's where a lot of the stuff that was talked about today comes in. That's why they're telling you, you go to the club to have fun. That's the frame that you're coming from. Now, people ask, well, if you're going to the club to have fun, how are you going to meet girls? Well, the thing is that if you have that frame that you're trying too hard to meet girls, you're not the kind of person that girls are going to seek validation from, because you just gave them validation just through the way that you're acting, your behavior patterns. All right, so let's break this down, how to approach girls. The first thing is just barreling through. That means sometimes you cut over threads. Sometimes you have to get their attention, okay, in a playful way, not like in a weird way. You want to show a lot of indifference, like you're a very warm person, but also not very, you're not very concerned about outcome. Something that I like to open with are things like opinion openers. Well, take for example my friend Scott, okay, in Los Angeles. This just happened 2 days ago. He was out with this girl for her birthday, and they're at a sushi restaurant. Anyway, these cooks start flirting with her, and she kind of doesn't like it that much, but they're just still flirting with her. And because it's her birthday, she gets a free cake. So they send her out this cake with these 2 ice cream balls and a cucumber sticking straight up and a strawberry as the tip. Okay? So she's so happy that she's got her free cake, and she's just eating it, just having fun. And halfway through, she looks at it and she realizes this is some kind of phallic, flirtatious thing from the cooks or something like that. So she gets furious. All of a sudden, she picks up the cucumber and pelts it right at the cook. Freaks out and walks out of the restaurant. Now, my friend likes this girl, right? But he doesn't know her that well. So he's trying to figure out if she's completely neurotic or if that's just normal behavior from girls. So the thing is, it's mildly interesting, that conversation. It's funny enough. It's not hardcore comedy where people are going to be splitting at the sides, but it's just interesting enough that it's that much more interesting than the next man's conversation in that club, because every other guy in that club is coming up with the exact same thing over and over. Now, some of you guys here might wear maybe an interesting article of clothing, or maybe there's something interesting about you, and you've noticed that people will come up to you and have the same conversations over and over and over, continually, all the time. And that will actually get to the point where literally when people have that conversation with you anymore, you don't even hear it. You don't even want to hear that anymore. That's kind of what the girls have going. They hear the same thing over and over and over. Their basic pickup that they get in the club is basically just a resume being taken off. That's what's most common. Where are you from? What do you do? It just goes like that. It's very boring. Now, the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way, and I'll tell you why. On one level, if you have this certain status, like high status behavior patterns, which could include everything from the way you're dressed, the way that you act, and I could list hours of that stuff, to if there was girls with you before, your confidence, your vibe, you could have a very boring conversation and the girl will be super into it. You'll ask her the most boring thing and she'll think you're the most genius person in the whole world. But on another level, if you're not at that point yet, a way to sort of get yourself going is to have interesting things to talk about. What I just said there, that could work. Something that just happened. You can open with teases, like they said, things like flicking the girls. You can even open by just saying, you could say something about her and that you want to come meet her. That does put you in a position, though, where, again, you're wanting something, but if you do it with the right vibe and attitude, the girl might be super flattered by it. And what's interesting about that, and this is something I sort of learned from being in Hollywood, a lot of the time when I meet celebrities, I might walk up and say, oh, wow, dude, you're very talented. And then I'll just sit there completely indifferent to whatever they say. And they're expecting me to be all fawning on them, but because I don't do that, what happened was I just sort of validated them a little bit, but because they want to keep that validation, they start sort of gaming me, and they'll start asking me questions and asking me to come sit with them. And again, that comes from a sort of indifference. A real player has no bitterness towards impermanence. What that means is that a lot of you guys here probably have frustrations about things like, well, can I keep a woman? Can I find the right woman? Things like that. For a guy who knows that he can meet women whenever he wants, he's not going to have a continual paranoia about how hard it's going to be to replace a good girl. There's a lot of good girls out there. Now, for me, I don't really profile girls based on whether or not they go to clubs or anything like that, because the truth is, girls are very, very socially adaptive. So, for example, you could take the sweetest girl you've ever met in your entire life, and you throw her in Las Vegas with her friends, and her friends are all out to get laid, and she'll go sleep with some guy she just met an hour and a half ago. That can happen. The sweetest girl you've ever seen, okay? You can also take the craziest, most off-the-wall party girl. She's crazy, you know? And, you know, what they call, like, loose balls, all that stuff. But she meets the right guy that treats her and has an expectation of her and just, like, treats her in a way where she wants to live up to his expectations. And she might be happy with him for the rest of her whole life. In a lot of ways, people will live up to the expectations that other people give them. So, for example, if someone expects very little from you, you probably aren't going to give very much. But imagine you meet this really cool person and they think that you're, like, really sophisticated. You're going to want to try and act sophisticated because you're going to feel so flattered that they feel that of you. You're going to want to live up to that expectation. So I want you guys to think about that. A lot of the time when girls start getting bratty with me, instead of getting sucked into it by arguing with them, I just look at them like I'm honestly completely confused. I have no idea what's happening. Like, I'll look at them and I'll be like, oh, wow, I apologize. I must have been a little bit socially abrasive. You seem to be a little bit upset. And a lot of the time, just from me being totally reasonable and completely indifferent to what they're doing, they'll start apologizing back, you know? Girls will throw all sorts of shit at you. Sometimes girls will even say stuff to you like, you know, I have a boyfriend, he's hot, right? And what are you supposed to say to that? You know, and you could even just say something like, oh, well, in that case, I'm not a threat, so we can continue this conversation. Anyway, and you keep going. Now, the thing is, that's interesting because we might say, well, wait a second, I thought you have to, like, you know, get, like, you know, push down that bad behavior. But isn't it interesting how complete indifference on the nonverbal channel is going to convey the same thing? See, you have your verbal channels and you have your nonverbal channels. In a lot of ways, if you convey something on a nonverbal channel, the girl will hear that more than what she heard on the verbal channel. It's the strangest thing you've ever seen. You can do things as strange as telling a girl, you know, in the next half hour, we'll probably be making out, and in the next 5 or 6 hours, we'll probably be back at my house. And she'll be like, excuse me? You'll be like, ha, just kidding. Anyway, and you start just telling stories and make her laugh, and she'll completely forget what you said. Full cognitive dissonance. I remember once, I was on a workshop, and a bunch of students, I'd given them the same thing to say. And about 15 students had walked up to this Playboy Playmate in Los Angeles, and said the same thing on her. So I went in and said the exact same thing, and her friends started yelling at me saying, he's one of those guys, right? But because she liked me, she goes, he's the best one, I don't care. Okay? That's her rationalization, okay? Because she has the emotion, so she rationalizes it, well, he's the best one of the weirdos, right? Okay? I had another girl who I had apparently met her the week before, and I didn't know that. And I walked up to her and started the conversation by utter coincidence with the same things I said last week. And I pulled her over, and I'm talking to her, and her friend comes up and is completely angry and pulls her away, and I had no idea why. I was completely confused. And apparently my friend was there after I left, and apparently she was like, that guy came up to you last week and said the same things. Why'd you let him do that? And she was like, I like him, I don't care. You know? And the thing is, okay, so I suppose I'm joking around, but I'm trying to get across a message here. Just a very basic message. And that's that your behavior patterns will determine whether or not the girl likes you. And even if, certain things aren't right, maybe in your clothes, maybe with money, anything like that, it doesn't necessarily matter. Because girls are hardwired to pick up on certain behavior patterns. And when you exhibit those, and a lot of it comes from internally, just from internal confidence, she's going to feel attraction. So don't get too hung up on it. Now, coupling that mentality with what I said about, bang, just going in, okay? I seriously want you guys to get away from any, like, approach anxiety stuff. Because I have to tell you, approach anxiety, like getting nervous to approach girls, is complete and utter nonsense. Like, it makes no sense at all. How are you going to feel like 50 years from now, looking back, thinking about girls who you didn't approach? You're going to feel like a fool, okay? It's all because our minds create these different contexts that feel so powerful at the time, but when you can actually distance yourself away from it, it's all just for fun. It's not a big deal. I would really recommend downplaying it. Most of these girls cannot remember you, usually the next day. If we're talking bars and clubs right now, they will not remember you. So you see the girl, you go in. You start the conversation, you stay composed. Maybe you're playful, you're having a fun time. Remember how they talk about the parties with you? That's a very key thing. If you're all in there like a couple champs, having fun, the parties with you, there's none of that neediness there, that's cool. But the problem is that so often people want to make it work so badly that there's little mannerisms built into their speech patterns that will sort of let the cat out of the bag. For example, the girl will say something and they'll be too eager to say their funny thing that they want to say, or they're too eager to say their cocky funny line. Or maybe the conversational thread gets cut off and they're like, no, I want to tell you this. There's too much eagerness there just to say it. They can't just lay back. That's a very important thing you guys need to remember. It's just being chilled out, having fun, and laying back. The main reason why I think a lot of relationships break up is because over the course of time, there's a lot of great experiences, but a lot of little negative experiences. And what starts to happen is those kind of build up over time, and people focus on the negative. But isn't it interesting how so many guys with their girlfriends will have jealousy issues, or will have validation issues, or insecurity issues? But if you can go in there with no outcome in mind, just like a fun, cool dude, and you're not trying to get anything from her, and you're not trying to get any kind of outcome, and then she goes and looks at every other guy that she meets who are micro-analyzing everything that she does in the context of whether or not she likes them and all that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just something about that. When I go in, what I like to do is I'll go in, I'll open the conversation, and I'll tease. And the other thing that I do that's very, very important is I tell a lot of really funny stories. Now, the thing that you guys need to focus on, and this is the strangest thing, is that your stories don't need to be that funny. In fact, they can be pretty boring so long as they're just a little bit different. Because the girls are so accustomed to hearing the same things over and over and over that when you actually come with something a little bit different and just start talking, in a lot of ways, when you do that, it's kind of like a fishbowl. And the girl can just look in and watch the fish sort of swim around from the safety distance. Whereas another guy that comes in and starts sort of expecting her to contribute right away, she doesn't know him well enough, so he doesn't have the value yet for her to do that. That goes back to the whole barreling through thing that I was talking about. A lot of the time, what I'll do, if you guys remember back that story I told you about, the cucumber and the ice cream balls and all that stuff, what I'll do is I'll keep talking until I see they're kind of warmed up. And if they're not warmed up, I'll just sort of keep talking and joking around. Maybe I'll ask questions that don't require them to think, I call that illusionary input, which is basically, you say, well, blah, 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 do you think this? That's interesting, I thought you'd say that. Well, the reason I say that is because of this and this. You just keep going. You're leading the conversation. Now, a big thing that a lot of guys fail to do in clubs is not recognize the dynamic of what's going on. So, for example, say that you're in a high-traffic area. You might be talking to the girl, and people are bumping you around. Now, something about female psychology that comes back to a lot of the stuff that David was talking about today is that girls are socially conditioned not to lower their social value by being known as easy to get. So a way of thinking of that for you guys would be like this. Say you have a girlfriend. You love your girlfriend. She's great. You have a great relationship, great physical side. Everything's going awesome. Maybe one day you find out that your girlfriend, who you love, slept with some dude on the football team. And you go, oh, maybe you're a little bit jealous. Then you find out she slept with every single guy on the football team. Okay? Right? Now, what's interesting is that doesn't really change your relationship with that girl. She still loves you. She still chooses to spend all her time with you. Why should that change anything? It's funny how, as a guy, if she finds out that you hooked up with a lot of girls, it probably is all right. But as guys, there's this social conditioning as part of our society that if a girl gives it up too easily, she's not valuable. There's something like that. I think it's bullshit. But the point is, it's a conception that exists in our society. The girls have to watch out for their reputations. Girls are very based around the relationships that they have. If you read Cosmo magazine, it talks a lot about their relationships with everybody, whereas guys are a lot more geared around accomplishments. And of course, as time has gone on, a lot of that starts to change, which is awesome. Because I love the fact that, society is encouraging people not to be boxed in. I think that's awesome. But the point is, the girls are conditioned not to try to get guys. So say, for example, you're talking to a girl in the club, and she really likes you, but then her friend comes up and says hi to her, maybe within the first minute or two, and she hasn't really got a chance to get to know you that well. Immediately, that girl who you're talking to is probably just going to start talking to her friend and completely not even acknowledge that you're still there. These are things that will happen to you. The way that you get around that, again, is by leading. If the friend comes in, you immediately just pull the friend in. You go, oh, hey, how you doing? Pull her in. But that's a calibration call, by the way, because sometimes a girl will be so into you that even when the friend comes, she'll just look back, go, hi, and then keep talking to you, and she'll even shove her friend off. And that will happen also. What I think is interesting is that girls go through phases. So we talk about a quality woman or a not quality woman. I remember a girl who I dated for about a year and a half. When I first met her, she was with her boyfriend. And so the first time that we hooked up was at the tail end of her relationship, right at the very end. Then she went out and slept with a few different guys. She was a party chick, going to clubs every night, hooking up with different guys. She did that for a few months. Then she said, enough's enough. Then she came to the point where she didn't really want to be with any guys, including me. And she just did her own thing, worked on herself, worked on developing herself for about almost a year after that. And then she called me up one day and she said she really missed me. And we started dating, and we had a really solid relationship for a while. Now, she's back at the clubs. And that happened after quite a long time of just being with me, though. And the point is, this is not a quality girl or a not quality girl. It's just the phase that she's in. She's a younger girl, 21. She's at that age where she's just experiencing life. When you call a girl up, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where she's at. You can never be totally sure. The truth is, you will never be able to determine a quality woman except for over time. Another truth is, you cannot develop a connection with somebody immediately. It's something that happens over time. Sure, if you have an instant connection and it all works out great, you'll backwards rationalize it later that it was an instant connection. But the truth is, and this is really harsh for a lot of guys, you aren't shit until you've been together for a while. And that's a fact. Because you can be with a girl for 5 hours in the club one night, and some cooler dude than you comes along and plucks her right off you, and you're scratching your head, you can't figure out why that happened. You have to realize, guys, it's a game. It's meant to be fun. It's not that you had some big connection. You are having a fun moment together, and you should appreciate that for what it is. A guy who's a cool dude isn't bothered by that. You should never be bothered by impermanence. Lust, love, these things come and go, and you have to enjoy them for what they are while they stay, not with any fear of some particular outcome. The truth is that if you're as cool of a guy as her, you should be just as open to the possibility that it'll end as she is. You're out just like her. It doesn't really matter. It's for fun. That doesn't mean that it can't become more serious over time, but let's get this straight, guys. That is over time. If you have a crush on a girl before you've even hooked up with her, guys, that's probably in your head, not hers. That's a projected reality that you've brought into the situation. These are the kinds of non-needy mentalities that you need to bring to the table. A cool dude has options. He's not in super need of any particular outcome. The cooler guys at the club probably already are dating a couple girls, have a hot girlfriend, or could have a girl if he wanted to. And that's why he's not looking very needy. He has options. Looking as though you have options communicates that you have value, because a dude who's got value has options. So going back to the approach, you come in, you're cool. If there's anything weird happening, you just act as if you don't even know what's going on. You can still tease, but you just keep your frame. What they're doing to you in a lot of ways when they're acting up is they're applying social pressure on you. They're putting you in sort of like a weird situation. And if you look completely unaffected by it, you have conveyed social status. If you're talking to a group of 11-year-olds and they got all bratty, would you take it very seriously? You say, whatever, dude. Like, hey, chill out, man. And that's what you do. That's how you have to come into that situation. The thing is, though, is that so many guys will get caught up in this whole, not needy thing, but they also forget that you have to have an element of warmth to it. You have to really love women and really be intrigued by them and curious to get to know them. A lot of people will say to me, well, you know what? I can't meet a woman who's my intellectual equal. And I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate that that's difficult. But I think that that frame is an excuse. Because the fact is that although that girl may or may not, and you don't even know that, be your intellectual equal, she can add to your intellectual acumen. She has that capability. There's something about her that you can learn. You know, there's something in her personality that can teach you things. You may also have a physical connection, an amazing physical connection and physical relationship with a girl, despite that you don't feel a strong emotional connection. And that's just something that goes through life. If ever you go into the interaction with an outcome in mind, you're trying to pull that person to your expectation of the outcome. If you can just chill and have fun with it, then you can calibrate to the situation. So for example, when I go in, I'll tell stories, I'll tease, I'll ask questions, and I have fun. The stories that I talk about like this little kid that flipped me off. I talk about me pushing my friend around rollerblading. I talk about me going to Australia, and there was this gay flight attendant there who started hitting on me. I talk about my friend bringing me to a swing dancing club and how I was really nervous, and all these girls like showing me moves. And these are like little 3-4 minute stories. They have like little punches in them, sort of like wrap up somewhere. These are just true stories from my life that I just like to tell. You guys have those. Some of the most silly things that you guys don't even realize are stories are stories. They don't have to be that good. The fact is, guys, if they're too good, it's kind of like trying too hard. Another thing that I want you guys to think about is conversational ratios. When you keep talking and talking and talking, there's an advantage to that in the sense that you can break open a set of girls that you couldn't have gotten otherwise. But on another hand, there's a problem with that. The problem is this. If you're doing all of the work, despite the fact that she's giggling and that you're conveying a lot of personality, there's two things that can go wrong from that. One is that when you go to take her phone number, you've just been sitting there conveying all this value, but has she been conveying any value to you back? Nope. So there's a certain incongruency when here you are, this cool dude, why do you want her number? She's just been sitting there just laughing at your jokes the whole time. So obviously it makes you seem incongruent. Another problem with it is that you're taking away the experience for her of sort of gaming you. A lot of girls are actually turned on by having to work to get a guy to like them. That's why you'll see situations like, for example, you might go up to a girl at a bar and start talking to her, and she might say, you know what, I've been trying to get this bartender's attention the entire night, so please, I have to keep working to get this guy's attention. And you're like, what? And here you are cracking her up, and she's having a great time, but she's still, because she's put in an hour and a half sitting at that bar trying to get this dude, now she's going to backwards rationalize all that work that she's put in that she really, really wants him. So if you can, at the same time, on one level, learn how to lead an interaction, get them laughing, create an awesome vibe, but at the same time, know when they're hooked and know when they want to qualify themselves to you, how to just lay back and let them work, and how to control that conversation, that conversational mastery. And that's just something that comes over time. But once you have that, you have a strong skill set. Now let's think back to that whole social conditioning thing. You've got the girls in the bar. They're kind of hard to keep. It's almost like a bunch of squirrels running around. You're trying to grab it, okay? It's unreal sometimes, especially when it's a high stimulation bar, like a dance club or something. I mean, how do you get the attention? A lot of that comes from vocal projection. You can talk over their threads. You can cut over. Now, this is sort of a little bit of an advanced concept, but for you guys who do go out, you will start to see a lot of this. If you remember, I was talking about how sometimes people will fade out. They'll fade out from listening to someone who doesn't have enough value to them. If you can talk and project loud enough over them, a lot of the time you can regain attention because their subconscious mind just picks it up as, I'm picking it up, this person must have value. Another thing that you'll notice is that whenever you see a group of people, you'll notice the coolest guy in that group, even from across the room, you can hear his voice across the room a lot of the time. You'll see that. High status characteristics, one of them is humor. When you can be really funny and control the frame around you, that's very powerful. So for example, think back to David here. He has, our friend asked about the, what he should do if people think he's gay, right? And of course, David's left in a situation where it's like, fuck, dude, I don't know. It's a weird-ass problem, right? And the thing is that, it's a legit problem, but he's sort of left in this position where he's losing control of the frame. So what does he do to get it back? He says, dude, get a shirt that says, I'm not gay. And everybody starts laughing. Now David has regained the status in the room from that. Being able to do that, being able to, like, in a funny way, sort of tease people, like just like push them down a little bit, but like in a really funny way, that will always control things. That's just how it always goes. People in clubs, a lot of these guys are just, the level of frame control they have is amazing. They will do things to you to put you in these like double binds that just make you lose total power of the interaction. So for example, they might say something to you like, just very basic, like, dude, you know, you're a cool guy, man. And when they're going, dude, you're a cool guy, it's like they're trying to like imply like you are qualifying yourself to them. Or for example, maybe you've got like your digital camera out and you're like showing some pictures. And you go, oh man, dude, got a little picture show going on here, bro. Dude, show me some of those cool pictures, man. And you're like, oh, okay. You know, and he's like, dude, these are awesome, man. Dude, you're a champ. And he's like, okay, right? And see, so that's the thing. You have to know how to keep that frame. Like, dude, you know, I'm just trying to impress you, man. You're fucking pimp, dude. You know, right? And, you know, you just keep that sort of, thing going. You can control conversational frames like that just by joking around, having funny stuff to say, and if anybody says something to affect you, reframing it in a way that cracks people up. Having that power, the girls see that. They'll see it all the time. Sometimes other guys will try and like knock you down, but if you just hold your frame and you look totally unaffected, you're fine. You don't lose any value in the girl's eyes. But the thing is that a lot of that stuff that's designed to knock you down, including shit tests, by the way, guys, is designed to kind of like internally paralyze you. So take, for example, a guy who's never seen a shit test before, and he rolls up on some girl and she shit tests him. His first reaction is like, he's like, oh my God. And he starts to feel like that, he sort of feels deflated inside. When the girl sees that, he loses value. At the same time, if she shit tests him and he just thinks it's funny, or he's just totally chilled out, or he doesn't even get it, or doesn't even care, and doesn't even acknowledge the threat at all, which, by the way, is a very easy way to pass a shit test. Just pretend you didn't hear it. A shit test. That's like classic David D stuff. Shit tests. Girls will shit test you when they like you to see how you'll react, okay? So the thing is that just disacknowledging it and not showing that any kind of social pressure affects you in any way. So I want you guys to focus on this, okay? Pick up in bars and clubs. You got some funny stories on your mind, some funny teases, cool ways to start conversations, whatever it is. You see the girls over there. You don't necessarily need to wait to make any kind of connection. You just go in, because as soon as you open up the conversation, as long as it's interesting, you'll have attention from the group. You guys have to believe that. You go in, open it, they talk, you tease a little bit based on their answers. You know, one of my friends will say, you know, he'll get them all talking and say, dude, this is like having the TV show The View right here to consult with. And they just bust out laughing. He says, you know what, check this out. Tell some story, they're laughing, he teases them a bit more. Maybe he shows them things. Maybe he teaches them some things. That's very, very powerful, guys, being able to teach something to a girl. Teaching her anything that's interesting. Anything that you can think of that's interesting, as long as it's not too technical and a vibe killer in a club, as long as it has some interest to her, you teach that to her. Again, you're showing authority. She's going to find you very fascinating. You do all that, you start asking her questions. She starts to like you. You can kind of just lay back at this point, get her to start to work. But again, you want to get her in a position where you can work. We talked about how the girls don't want to be like very obviously trying to pick you up. So the problem is that say that you're in like a high traffic area in the club and you're getting bumped around a lot of the time she'll get bumped around, she'll just go back to her friends. And then you have to go back and reopen again, and you're losing your power there. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, especially if you just go back in fun, but it's not an ideal situation. So what you do is you have to learn how to calibrate where the girls are at. The only way that you can learn this is by going out. I can't emphasize enough to all the guys in here that think they're going to learn like the perfect pickup plan, so they're never going to have to get rejected in their whole life and they can just get their one wife and get out of this mess and all this stuff, right? That this takes time to learn calibration. So you're going to have to learn when a girl's ready to even move. A lot of that comes from like what Dave was talking about, like with like, you know, keynote touching. Say that you tap her and she taps you back, right? Say that you want to show something funny. Like, for example, the weirdest routine I'll show girls that works amazing is I'll say, you know what, here, let me show you the LA handshake. And I'll do these, like, silly, stupid handshakes, and I'll show her, like, another handshake and another handshake. Now, again, she's showing that she's into it. Maybe I tap her, she taps me back. Maybe I back up a little bit, and she leans in to hear what I'm saying more, and she's leaning in. Well, now I can say, you know what, you have to see this other thing over here. I'll show you something awesome, you know? And then you take her, and she thinks it's going to be awesome because everything else you're showing her is awesome. So she comes and she sits down with you. Now you've got her sat down. Now you can really work. Okay, you can build a connection. You can build commonalities. At the same time, so many guys will try and build commonalities, but they're looking too eager. So what I'll do is I'll build commonalities, but on things that I don't agree with, I'll tell her that I don't agree with it. You know what's funny is that in the same way that a lot of guys, when they're starting out with girls, if a girl says, well, I don't agree with that, they go, me neither, right? I didn't mean that. Okay, the girls will do the same thing. You disagree with it, and they'll go, no, I didn't mean that. And they'll totally take it back. Learn how to freeze out girls when they do stuff you don't like. What that means is basically just totally cut them out. Because you know how girls do this stuff to you guys, right? Say that you do something to a girl that she doesn't like, and she basically just completely ignores you and is unresponsive. If a girl does something that's out of line and unacceptable, deeper in, you can just completely freeze them out. If she says something that's completely obnoxious or not acceptable, you can show what your standards are by just not acknowledging her. And then she'll poke you. She'll say, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean that. And you go, oh, it's cool. And you're back on. Okay. So again, you could build commonalities. Overblow and be excited about the commonalities that you have. But at the same time, don't be too eager to build them. Moderate and be aware of conversational ratios. Be aware of the fact that although you want to convey value, if she doesn't convey any value back, that can be a difficult situation. So be aware of that stuff. Let's talk about a problem I see with a lot of guys also. A lot of guys, they think that they want to sleep with a lot of women, or they think they want a girlfriend. But the thing is, that's more their means value. Their end value is they want the feeling of acceptance. Take, well, for example, you guys have seen the movie Fight Club, where the guy becomes like a seminar junkie, right? And he keeps going to different seminars because he likes that feeling that he gets from them, And a lot of people will interact with girls and they think they're doing it to get a girlfriend, but really there's just that core emotion that's in them where they feel acceptance and they don't want to lose that. So what winds up happening as a result is they'll go flirt with a girl and the girl will flirt back a little bit and they feel so good about it, they don't want to try and escalate it because they feel good and they're not confident in themselves to escalate it. So what winds up happening is they just walk off, they're like, yeah, that was awesome, because they really didn't know what they're going to do next. But the problem with that is that's a rut because you're basically lying to yourself. The truth is that, unless you seal the deal, you don't have a girlfriend. You didn't, nothing happened. Now, that's not to say, though, that it devalidates what you did up to that point. Because the truth is that learning how to meet girls in bars and clubs is a skill set. And you could be really, really good at that first half hour, but really inexperienced with the last 6 hours. You could be really good at the first 3 hours and really inexperienced at the last 3 hours. Or you could be the kind of guy that doesn't have any problems with women in general, but isn't good at the pickup part. Like you're really good with girls in your social circle, but you're not good at the pickup part. So you're too scared to go pick up a girl because you feel like you're good with girls and you don't want to lose that validation. You don't want to lose that self-certainty. The truth is that's all nonsense. It doesn't devalidate that certain parts of your game is good if other parts are bad. So that means that you have to work on it. What I would recommend for all guys that want to learn how to meet girls in bars and clubs is to go to bars whenever you have free time, whenever it's fun, and push the interaction to the next level every time. What does that mean? Always go for the number. Always go for the same-day date, as David calls it. What I really like to train guys to do is always try to go for that instant date. Always try. If that doesn't work, chat a little bit longer, go for the phone number. Even if the girl isn't into you, the only way that you're going to learn is by trying. Think of it this way. There's active indicators of interest and passive indicators of interest. So an active indicator of interest is like the girl's giggling, she's asking you a ton of questions, when you pull back, she leans in, when you move around, she's got that trailing mechanism, that switch has been flipped on, where wherever you walk around, she's looking and she's aware of your presence all the time. That switch has been flipped on. Then there's passive indicators of interest. That's like, although the girl isn't really showing a lot of attraction, she's still sitting there. She's still letting you talk to her. A lot of guys don't realize that, but the mere fact that a girl's even talking to you on some level is somewhat of an indicator of interest. I remember a girl who I dated for a long time. I met her in a diner at a restaurant. Did it just like how I said to you guys. I opened the conversation. I waited till she smiled just a little bit. I sat down and said, you know what, I have to get out of here in like 30 seconds. That way she didn't, get worried. I kept talking. She kind of just sat there and nodded. She didn't really do too much. And didn't really look that into me. But I did see one little thing. I spotted it. And that's that her friend under the table kicked her foot. Because that's like girl code, right? Like the girls will code each other to see if they're cool. So she kicks her friend under the table, and I see the girl who I'm talking to who's not showing a lot of interest. She looks at her friend, and her eyes go up and down really quick, like yes, okay? So subtle. And her friend is just like, nods, okay. And she still sits there. At that point, I know that she likes me, despite the fact that she's not showing any attraction. Those passive indicators of interest are there. I took her number, not thinking that it was a good meeting at all, called her the next day, set up a meet for the next day, no problem at all whatsoever. Because it just wasn't part of her personality to be really flirty and really outgoing. But she's a cool girl once I got to know her. Girls will continually be girl coding each other in the club all the time. They make these little eye codes to each other within the club constantly. Sometimes little foot codes. Sometimes what a girl will do is one girl will be totally into a guy, but the other one isn't. So her friend will sit there and stare at her just like this blank, like fucked up face. And then the friend will keep giggling, and then she'll be looking to see if her friend's okay, and she'll be like, ha ha ha. Oh, we have to go to the bathroom. It's very nice meeting you. Boom, out of there, okay? Right, you'll see that, all right? Again, this is calibration. A lot of guys really like to engage the whole group of friends and make them all have fun. Sometimes you can just engage the one girl, and the friends will leave her. A lot of this comes down to personality types. In a group of girls, especially in clubs, there's usually one dominant friend, and other friends are like more passive. Not always, by the way. Sometimes they're all dominant, all passive, whatever. And so what you'll see is that while you're talking, you'll spot it, if that is the case, because there'll be one girl that keeps facing you, and then these other girls will keep looking to see what she's going to say. All right, that's how you can tell. Now, a lot of the time, if that dominant girl likes you, you can just talk right to her, and her friends are so passive, they'll just sit there, just interested to see what's going to go on. Other times, though, maybe the dominant friend hates guys talking to her friends, and you talk to one of her friends, and that friend says, let's go, right? She's out of there. And no matter how much that friend likes you, because she's so passive to her other friend, she'll go. This is group dynamics. You can get a calibration for this. A really great thing to say at some point during the meeting is, how do you guys all know each other? It's very, very important, especially with a mixed crowd of guys and girls. A lot of you guys think it's a bad idea to approach sets of guys and girls. No. If you're going to learn how to work a club, you have to be able to talk to the guy-girl groups. Even a guy and a girl, the two of them sitting together, there's no problem with going and talking to them. They could be brother and sister, could be anything. That's the whole point of just going in and chatting and not being so hard, trying too hard to pick up, is if you're just going in and chatting and having a fun time, like what we're talking about here today, it's not going to be a big deal. Imagine that you were out with your girlfriend, even your fiance, and you're just out at a club, and some funny, cool dude comes up. He's just chatting, he's telling cool stories, joking around, busting balls, whatever. You're not going to care. Why did you go to the club in the first place? It was to socialize. That's a mindset that a lot of people forget about. They go to the club and they feel like everyone's having more fun than them. Because when you're going to meet girls in bars and clubs, you might go there and everyone's having a fun time. They're dancing, they're drinking, and it feels like everyone's having more fun but you. It's like you're like the person who's needing something. And that's a terrible frame to come from. So what David talked about today was how, having a peer group, having connections in the club. That can really help with a lot of that. It's a really fantastic idea. I love that kind of stuff. When I have that, like in my hometown, I love that I have that. Other times when I travel, sometimes I'm traveling by myself, and I'll walk into a club not knowing a single person there, and I'll talk to people. By the end of the night, I'll have a lot of friends, and I'll know the hottest girls, and I had a great night. That's kind of like the fun thing of having that skill set, is that you can travel to any place, and you know that you can make friends anywhere. So it's a fun thing to have. I really recommend to you guys to get it. It's really fun. There's always different logistical issues with meeting girls in bars and clubs. That's the hardest part of it, really, if I have to say so myself. To be able to spark attraction in a club, that's pretty easy. The problem is, what do you do with the attraction once you have it? Because like we talk about with social conditioning, unlike with a guy who, if he's attracted to a girl, will go to all lengths to hook up with that girl, a girl could be attracted to a lot of different guys. And just because she's attracted to him doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to try and hook up with him. Now, again, we talked about different phases And that girl might be looking for a boyfriend and might work her ass off to try and meet you. But at the same time, she might not. There's always those logistical challenges, though. For example, say that a girl wants to go home with you. Are her friends going to let her leave with some guy that she just met? That depends. Sometimes in a party environment. Sometimes girls that are approaching more towards 30 because they're older, they're more responsible, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes the friends expect that from her and they let her and don't care. Other times it's not the case. Other times they freak out and get angry. Really angry. Really, really, really angry. You'll see this. You'll be leaving with her and her friends will come start screaming and freaking out and crying. It's insane. Okay? All right? Crazy stuff I've seen. And, the thing is, there's ways to avoid these problems. One, gauge the group. If you want to take her for a same-day date, maybe you befriend all the friends and bring all of them. Another way to do it is say you have a cool guy friend. Maybe you and your guy friend will pick 2 girls that you like, and then you'll take just them. And because they're together, the friends will let them break off. Maybe you and your guy friend bring everybody. If you have a guy friend who's cool and you have a really good energy between the two of you, that's a really great way to go to clubs. Just 2 guys. You can really kick ass. Now, I know it's really good to go with a lot of girls, and I love doing that too, but if I have a cool guy friend, I've found that I can still get through the lineups, and I can still get in the club, and girls will be into that. A really good way to keep a good chemistry with you and your guy friends is to have a lot of inside jokes and to just fuck around and have fun. If the girls see like 2 cool guys having fun, not looking like they need anything, there's that certain vibe there that's very different to 2 guys who are like, leaning up against the bar, not even facing each other, looking around, scanning, not even talking to each other, right? They don't even have enough value between the 2 of them to be concentrating on each other. But if you're just joking around having fun, a lot of the time, to open up a conversation, you can just joke around with each other. You can say one little thing to the girl, she answers, then you just keep joking around with your friends, and now all of a sudden, she wants to come in that conversation. If you and your guy friend approach 2 girls, that's, in my opinion, if you're both cool guys, that's the easiest way to meet 2 girls and have success. There's a couple things that are good about that. For one, they keep doing their eye codes to each other. They're both happy. Things will just escalate and escalate. Second of all, and these are some like little subtleties that you guys can work into your game. Say that you're talking to a girl and she likes you, but your friend is talking to a girl and that girl doesn't like him. Rather than staying in as it is, swap girls, okay? Now think about it. You're just cool guys. You're just there to chat, right? So what'll happen is, say that the 2 of you are talking to the 2 girls. At first, the conversation will be all over the place. Everyone's having fun talking. But what will inevitably happen once the girls are both into the guys is the conversation split. This will happen all the time. You'll see it, okay? You know what's going on when you see 2 guys and 2 girls, and it splits. That means the girls are attracted most of the time. Another way, by the way, that you can tell if a girl's attracted to a guy is if she's carting him around the club with her hand behind her back like that, and she's carting him around the club like it's her property, or if she took like her bracelet and put him on him. That's like the girl code to all the other girls that like, this is my property right now, okay? All right, this is common stuff, okay? This is like female subcommunication. So you know if the girl's carting you around the club, that's like a good sign. Don't fuck it up and don't try too hard because you're in. Just let her have her drinks and dance and stuff, and you're out of there after that, and it's all good. Now, okay, so, yeah. What's that? What about leading them? The weird thing is that you are leading them, but what starts to happen is they just like take over. No. Dude, it's the weirdest thing. Like you'll just go out to clubs, you'll see it. Okay. Now, getting back to that thing, what'll happen is sometimes guys get too attached. Like the guy that's in with his girl will be having a lot of fun. This couple isn't having fun. But this girl sees that her friend likes you. So all that you do is you just swap out. What I'll do if I'm with my friends, I'll go like that, and I'll just go like that. Right? And they know right away. We just go like that. We just swap up. And because she sees that I was a cool guy, she'll totally open up. My girl's in the mood already, so she'll open up because she just wants anything. Okay? And then, no, seriously, this is how it'll work a lot. Not always, but very frequently. Okay? Very frequently, you can even say things like, if you're having trouble, say you're at a club, and you're in with your girl, but your friend's having trouble with his girl, you can even say to your girl, you know what? I really like you, but, my friend, your friend, Anyway, just like that. And she'll go, no, right? And she'll pull you back, right? And then she'll point to your friend and say, he's cool. these guys are cool. I like these guys. And the friend will be like, okay, boom, like that, okay, immediately, because it's social proof, right? There's that like sexual pre-selection mechanism that's built into girls. They like guys that a lot of girls like. So if her friend approves, bam, she might get in. That said, that's if that girl's willing to go along with it. If that girl says, dude, I don't care what you're thinking, this isn't going to happen, then a lot of time that girl will leave you. In that case, maybe you could take a phone number, okay? So you guys see how this is sort of like working out? There's these different logistics of how to handle the same-day date. What you do is you try to get the same-day date. If that doesn't work, now you go plan B, phone number. Great way to get a phone number, pull out a card, write your number on it, rip it in half, hand it to her, and she'll write hers automatically. Very smooth. Sometimes I'll say things like, you know what, I feel like for the same reason why we both met is the same reason why we both have to go right now, which is that, you're here with your friends, I'm here with my friends. If we both had no friends, we could hang out the whole night. But, we're both social people. That's probably why we met. So we both have to go. So we're just going to have to hang out some other time. Do you have a phone on you? Immediately she'll say yes, right? Because she thinks she's just taking your number anyway. So she'll pull it out. You give her your number dialed in. Tell her to dial in your phone. You have each other's number. Now she can recognize your number when you call. If she like you, it's good. Okay? But again, notice how even that little way of taking a number is reflective of the real logistics of a club situation. The girls are with their friends. They're there to have fun. They're not there to pick up guys. So you have to be considerate of that and consider the situation that they're in. Maybe she's met you and she likes you, but if you're going to start thinking this is some like huge connection, blowing it out of proportion, that's no good. And likewise, if you're going to try too hard to make a mess within her peer group and make a total social nightmare for her, that's also no good. So you have to be considerate of the girl's situation that she's in and work within that frame. Okay? So, to sum it up, bars and clubs. See the girls you want. If you get eye contact and all that stuff, that's great. If you don't, just walk right up, okay? Walk right up, get in, try and get a vibe going where they're laughing. Just keep talking until you get them laughing. Emphasize, barrel through and keep talking until you get them laughing. Once you have them laughing in a good mood, now you can start asking questions and getting a more two-way conversation going. At that point, immediately overhype wherever it is that you want to go sit or move to. Just like, dude, it's so awesome over there. You have to come see this. They'll just say, okay. You move them over there. You get somewhere comfortable. Now you can work. Build commonality. Joke around. If it's like more of a party girl type, just act like a rock star. Have fun with her. If it's more of like a laid back, down to earth girl, get to know her. Let her talk to you. Build that commonality. You'll see the window of escalation by her things like, if you lean your head in, does she keep her face there more? Does she keep her face there? Or maybe she doesn't like that so much. Maybe you just back off. Maybe that window will open later. Because girls aren't like guys. For girls, it takes time. You build that up. You get numbers. You go to a club, you get a few numbers. Maybe you do a same-day date with the girl you like. You do that 4 days a week, and you'll have yourself an awesome girlfriend within a month. And that's how you go about doing it. Don't forget what I said about the system of beliefs, frames, having that belief in yourself, take into consideration all the fashion advice that you guys got today. At the same time, do it, but don't get hung up on it, because your beliefs is the most important thing. Come at it a style that you like, and as long as you believe that it's good, it'll work awesome, okay? So have that confidence in yourself that you're not needy, that what you're doing is going to work, that people will like you, and everything will work out awesome. So that's all I have to say on that topic, and I'm done.
Whoa. Put her there.
Good.
All right. How was that? Interesting. I think they like you. All right, guys. That was fantastic. We have to wrap up. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You know what? Just give them another round of applause, just because you have to. One of the things that I like about Tyler is that what he's saying really feels real to him. You know what I mean? It really feels like he knows what he's talking about, and he does. He's talking about the real world here. He's talking about real world situations. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like you to, right now, write down one thing, the one most powerful thing that you got from this program. It's the one most powerful thing that you got from this program. Write it down. Write down the one most powerful thing. What is it? What'd you get? Who do we have over here? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Felipe from New York City. I think the most important thing I learned today was that I had to always be in control at all times and don't let any female behavior affect me.
That's good.
My name is Jeffrey, and I'm a new resident of New York City. What I learned today was what I was told, but I finally sunk in. I'm going to let this be a game and a skill to learn, but not a purpose every time I go out, that I beat the shit out of my inner angry child if it doesn't go the way I want it to go. So thank you to Miriam and Tyler.
That's good.
My name is Dan. I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire, and I like who I am.
That's a good thing to get out of the program.
I'm Neil from New Jersey. I learned how to prep myself before and to know what I'm doing afterwards, so I have pretty good control and dominance of what's going to be going on, and had to network and know the right people and the bartenders, bouncers, and promoters.
That's great. Good.
I'm Jose Gonzalez from Tampa, and my own beliefs limit me.
Wow.
Johnny from Vegas. My name is Claude from Montreal. I just love that guy in the last CD series. I'd heard that the notion of having the frame of treating women as though they were little children, which previously I had seen as being somehow patronizing or condescending. And today, hearing about all the physical games, I really understood the notion of playfulness, to just like back in the schoolyard and playing in that kind of way. That was a big epiphany for me.
That's good. Who's got the mic over here? Yeah.
Ike from Brooklyn. I just realized that within the frame that you're the one to be pursued, that it's okay to be indifferent and just go out and have a good time, go out and have fun, and not worrying about meeting women. The overall thing is that you're the one to be pursued. Therefore, it's all right to go out and just have fun.
Oh, that's great. Stand up.
I'm Thompson. I'm also from Tampa, and yeah, it's similar to that. Just the idea that not focusing on the outcome and focusing on having fun could actually be fun. So that's crazy.
It's good.
I'm Andrew from Chicago. I kind of already did the whole conceptual shift a while back, so I got some good tips on like the hand kissing thing where you kiss your own hand.
Yeah.
I love what you said about setting up your own happy hour thing going on, and shop on eBay for the good clothes. You know, the good deals.
Got some eBay tips, huh? Everybody liked that hand kissing thing,
Yeah, it
Craig.
was
They
good.
really dug that.
I'm Jason. I'm from New Jersey. I learned two things. One, whether you're looking for a relationship or you're looking to have sex or hook up with a lot of girls or whatever, either way, you're seeking acceptance. It's the same thing. Two sides of the same coin. Also, more importantly, whether you say you can or say you can't, you're probably right.
Great point. That's great. Who's got the mic?
My name's Rakesh from New Jersey. I learned basically just be yourself, have fun. Simple as that.
Dan from New York, and I think one of the most important things was that she has to show me value and that she can't just rest on her good looks and to challenge her in that.
That's powerful. Woman has to bring some value to your life. I had a big realization about that one just the last year or two myself. I started realizing that, oh my God, most of the women that I'm spending time with don't add value to my life. They don't actually bring anything to me. And of course, my standards shot up, and it's only done good things for me. It's good. Thank you.
I'm Frank from DC, and the fishing metaphor was huge for me. Just the whole idea of throwing bait around and not necessarily going out and hunting for it, but just when something catches, you're ready there to act. And I thought that was big.
That's great. More?
Hey, I'm Josh from Pennsylvania, and one thing that really kind of clicked for me today was that if you believe that, something will work, it will. And if you believe that you're the best thing happening, then you are. I mean, the flip side is also true, but why not believe the positive and believe in yourself?
Exactly. Exactly.
Hi, my name is Naphtali. I'm from Chicago. And I can't wait till I turn 21 so I can start doing this stuff. I'm really excited. I can't.
Oh, man, let's give him a round of applause for getting a head start.
Thank you, David Deangelo. This stuff is the bomb, man. Thank you.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if every guy could get this for his 21st birthday? You know what I'm saying? Right? Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
It is Anders Thyssen from Denmark.
Did you fly over here from Denmark to be here?
Oh, yeah.
Stop for just one sec. Anybody else fly from another country to be here? Where'd you guys fly from? London? Austria? Canada? Spain? Canada? Give them all a round of applause. Thank you guys for being here. I really admire you for getting on a plane and coming all the way the hell over here to learn how to improve yourself. That's great. Thank you.
Oh, yes. But New York is also a great city to make this in.
Yeah, not a bad place to have it.
Oh, yeah, and I will say that I have learned about improving my skills in bars and clubs regarding dating, and then be more focused on on having fun and not so much about getting laid, because
Amen, brother. Anyone else? Yeah.
My name is Larry Jones. I'm from New York. And I guess the biggest thing I got out of it was the impermanence thing. Learn to accept that, let it go, and just deal with the now. So we'll see what happens.
So important. Yeah, it's so important. It's great. Who else?
Hey. Okay. I got a lot out of this from in terms of specific ideas, but what I want to share is sort of an inner experience. And that is that there's something that happens when I'm trying to learn something new, that where I go into my head and I start comparing where I want to be to where I am right now, and I'm aware of the insecurity that I have about like recreating myself a new way. And then I'll sit there feeling kind of triggered and tense because I'm not that guy that I want to be. And in the past, I've used that sensation, that group of feelings of like, to just beat myself up over the head with. And one of the things that I heard Marie say, it was just kind of resonated with kind of the Buddhist in me, which is like this idea that all you have to do is notice that. Like you don't have to beat the crap out of yourself for not, for feeling fear or feeling anxiety or feeling like it's not going to work. You just have to keep doing the stuff. And so I was being really gentle with myself with noticing that I'm in some emotional pain about the fact that I'm not where I want to be, and just saying, oh, it's just emotional pain. It'll go away. Just keep doing the stuff you need to do. So
that's a great point.
Thanks.
Being able to just observe what's going on for you without judgment and accept it and just kind of let it wash through you and be okay with it and know that it's not permanent. Okay? It's very powerful. It's very important. Accept yourself. It's good. With that, I want to thank you very much for being here. I want to thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause.